It's Monday, July 11th, and you're listening to a brand new episode of the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant. On today's episode, we're very thrilled to have him. Our guest today, EFT and tapping expert. He's got such a cool story, too. He's a powerhouse in the self-help world. Brad Yates joins us vis-a-vis Zoom. That's great. He's fantastic. He's got such a cool story. He found out he was an actor on General Hospital, or was it Days of Our Lives? Anyway, crazy. And if you know him, you know the fantastic work he does. If you don't, well, you'll want to get into it after this epi. Also, join us on the after show, patreon.com/JDShowPod. The Julien Dionne After Show with Jen Grant and Jordan Grant. It's a whole other show. A lot of other shows will post stuff on Patreon, then eventually release it on YouTube or for the rest of the world, for the cheapies. Not us. We'll never release it. It's only exclusively available. I don't think I had to say only and exclusively. Those mean the same thing. At patreon.com/JDShowPod. Also, this episode is brought to you by KookiJar, spelled KOOKI, jar.com. Head on over to KookiJar and enter promo code JDShow in all caps for 15% off and free shipping anywhere in Canada. Just go check their fantastic products at KookiJar.com. That's that. Subscribe, follow on Facebook and Instagram. All that good stuff. If you have an Apple, if you have an iPhone, leave a review on Apple Podcasts. Why don't you? It's that purple little app. Just find the show, The Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant. Search it. It's there. Leave a review. Makes a difference in our world. All right. We appreciate you. Enjoy this episode. And yes, this is a little later. I'm recording this intro right now. It's Monday morning at 9:45 a.m. By the time it's uploaded and so on, and processed. I didn't realize you had to process videos when you upload them. That eats up more time. It's just as much time. Anyway, who cares? Point being, we're learning how to streamline all of this now that we're pre-taping instead of live streaming. Live streaming, you hit record, it was up there. Didn't have to do anything after. Anyway. It doesn't matter. Enjoy this episode with Brad Yates, and it all starts now. Right now.
Like, I'll have lists, I just won't look at it. I'll make a list at night, and then in the morning, or ever again, I'll never look at it again. Welcome to the show, everybody. Here we are, episode 487.
Wow.
Yes, episode 487. 13 episodes away from our 24-hour live stream 500th episode. I feel like I want to do that. I know. Anyway, welcome to the show. Welcome to a brand new episode of the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant, coming at you live and direct, broadcasting from the beautiful Gatineau Hills. Hi. It feels weird doing that without music. Mm-hmm. Oh, we don't have our Sigida anymore. Should we? 1, 2, Sigida. There we go. We're doing things dry. We go in dry now into the episodes, as you know, because we need a new jingle. We've been your camera keeps pixelating for some reason.
Oh, shoot.
Anyway, very excited to have we have a great guest today.
So
thrilled and can't wait to have a chat with him. EFT and tapping expert Brad Yates will join us here in about 10, 12 minutes. And we get into it. We have an hour with him. I don't know how long we'll do, but we'll see. This is one of those interviews where I'm actually a little bit starstruck.
I know.
Because he's been so, when we were really into tapping, we still are, but I mean, when we were really, really in the thick of it, it's like you know him. You feel like, because you're focusing on things that matter to you most in life, and you've got this soothing presence that is kind of guiding you through it, and you feel like they understand you. It's like a warm embrace. Anyway, we're thrilled to have Brad Yates today.
Yeah.
If you don't know what tapping, EFT, or tapping is, we'll get into it. We'll get Brad to explain it right off the top. That's one of the first things I think I'll ask him.
Yeah, it's a good way to get into it. That way, at least people know what we're talking about. A lot of people don't know what it is.
I know. And we know, so we'll get him to explain to
Yeah, we
the
know,
listeners.
but like obviously he'll explain it so well
Yes.
because he must at this point really have it,
22 years he's been tapping. 22 years, an expert. I think the leading expert in the industry. Mm-hmm. Anyway, can't wait to have a chat with Bradley Yates. Or
You should ask him if he's Bradley.
yeah, Bradley or Brathew.
Brathew. Oh,
No,
it's a joke. Mm-hmm.
that'd be Brat. Yeah. Anyway, Brad Yates will join us here in about 10 minutes. In the meantime, by the time this airs, which is Monday, what's the date today on Monday? Do you know? Do you have we
Monday,
both don't have phones.
11th,
The 11th,
because it's 7 days from July 4th, which was Monday.
right? Well, look at you with the mathematics on the
On the fly?
on the fly.
I've got my little techniques for math.
So right now we are Wednesday. No, what are we today? Thursday? Wednesday.
Like actually, or when are we airing
In
this?
real life. No, we're airing this on Monday, July
Wednesday.
11th. Where
'Cause
it's
I go to
Wednesday.
Newfoundland tomorrow.
That's right. Are you excited?
I am excited.
Are you flying Air Canada, by the way?
I am, but it's not connecting in Pearson, so that's good.
Oh, yeah. I noticed there's so many cancellations. Air Canada. I don't know what's happening with Air Canada, but it's not going well. I saw an article of a flight that was canceled mid-air. They were on the way to Winnipeg. Or no, sorry. They were on the way to Calgary. And on the way there, I should fact check this because it was a TikTok. Jordan, could you fact check?
Oh, gosh.
Could you see if a flight was canceled mid-air from to Calgary?
How does that happen? But yes, I will.
The pilot came on and said this flight has been canceled, and they landed in Winnipeg, and all these people were stranded in Winnipeg. It seemed
my
like a real thing,
goodness.
but again, it was TikTok, so who knows?
Who knows, indeed.
I don't like to think of TikTok as betraying me and my trust,
Yeah.
but I don't know. Yeah, but regardless of whether that story is true of the flight getting canceled mid-flight, the point being, flights are being canceled everywhere. It's a shortage of staff.
I'm connecting through Halifax, so I guess it's not going to be as crazy.
Haligonia. Hopefully.
Well, there's no issue.
I mean,
so
by now
far.
we'll know. This is like a portal, a time travel.
It's true.
Right?
Like,
We have
by the
no
time-
clue.
By the time this airs, I'll be back from Newfoundland.
Isn't that funny? I think of that when we
kinda
go
weird.
when we go on a trip somewhere. Let's say we go to New Brunswick for a week, and I'll leave this mug here on my desk. Right? I'll go, okay, this mug is here, and it won't move again until I come back in a week. And from now until a week, I'm going to insert all these memories into my brain and come back. When I pick up the mug, I'll have all these memories from the week I just spent in New Brunswick.
You're big on that.
I know. Psychedelics, man.
No, you're big on like. I think it's good though. It's nice because you're big on like recognizing. I don't know the significance and like. I don't know how to word it, but you're like it's weird that this cup, like we have a fridge here, and you're really fascinated and like love that this fridge used to be in your apartment sharing with another.
Well, think about it.
I
It's
know.
crazy. When I was 20 years old, this fridge was in my roommate's bedroom
Right.
in South Keys, 111 Celtic Court in Ottawa. And
Don't go there, everyone.
20 plus years later, and we kind of went separate ways. Our friend, my friend, well, it's Doug from Gringo's Blazing Sauces. We lost touch for no other reason than just time and, life.
Yeah.
We just kind of lost touch. Nothing behind it other than just
Why
time.
do you hate Doug? Just kidding.
And so, and then now it's in our studio. So when I was 20 years old, this exact fridge was in Doug's bedroom. I was living in the house, just doing my thing. I've had beer from that fridge when I was 20 years, and now it's in our house. Isn't that crazy?
It is great. It is cool.
But it is like time travel when I think of these things. If these molecules of the fridge could speak,
Molecules,
that's what they are, aren't they?
I guess. What is
Do we
the
have any
name
scientists
brand?
that could call in? I have no clue. But
What
so
is-
when
if that's a good brand, if it's still running after 22
I know,
years.
and cold as ice. But when I put this mug down and I go on a trip, I go, next time I sit here and pick up this mug, I will have inserted a full week's worth of memories. And you know what? The idea of the memories are always way better than what they actually are. if I'm going out east for a bunch of shows or my bachelor party or whatever, I'm like, I'm putting down this cup. Oh my God, when I come back and I pick this up in 10 days, I'll have all these memories in my brain. And then I pick up the cup and 10 days later, I'm like, yeah, it's fine.
It's kind of like New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve, you always think, oh, there's such build up. New Year's Eve, oh my God, New Year's Eve, big party. It's going to be amazing. And then it's often a letdown. But if you have spontaneous plans, when somebody goes, hey, it's like 2 p.m. and they're like, do you want to go for a late lunch at a pub and like have some day drinks? Yeah. That's so much fun. But if you're like, next Thursday, I am going to have a late lunch and plan to have some day drinks. That's still fun, but it's different when you don't expect it.
I know.
And it's just a spur of the moment. That's so exciting.
Time travel, baby.
Baby.
What if well, that's my new thing now, baby. What's going on, baby? And I say it like that. I go high pitch.
Okay.
Yeah, that's time travel, baby. I think that could be my thing, baby. Like anybody, you call everybody baby. Your friends, your family, anybody.
Somebody called me baby cakes the other day.
Who the fuck called you baby cakes the other day?
A girl.
I'm just kidding. No. Baby.
Baby.
Maybe I'll start doing that. Maybe that'll be my quirk. My friends, like my guy friends, like the guys in the wedding party. Hey, what's up, baby?
Nah.
Oh, baby.
Nah.
J-Bone is here, baby. It's just so...
J-Bone.
It adds a level of confidence, and I need it.
The J-Bone.
Yeah, J-Dog is in the house, baby.
We're gonna have to take down the cans a bit. J-Bone is in the house, baby.
I think that's my new thing. I think baby might be my new thing. It's endearing, also creepy at the same time.
What if somebody says to you, "Oh, I like your new shtick"?
Thanks, baby.
Will you think that they're making fun of you?
Absolutely. I'll never say it again. As soon as I get a compliment on baby, I'm changing it. But from now until I get a compliment, baby is my thing.
People don't compliment on stuff like that, though. No one's like, "Oh, I like how..." It's too analytical. Like, you said that to someone, like, "Oh, I like how you say bro at every sentence, at the end of every sentence." People are like, stop analyzing me.
I like your stylistic choices.
Yeah.
Your vocab stylistic... I know, it's ridiculous.
I love the words that you choose, too.
What if I say it to Brad Yates? Welcome to the show, baby. Yeah, here we are with Brad. Let's do some...
He seems like such a nice guy.
Let's do some tapping, baby. Sorry.
Yeah, he seems like such a nice guy. He'd be like, yes, let's do it.
Jordan, is our camera on? Can you see the studio view? I just want to see if Brad Yates will see us. Like if we're... Oh, shit.
Yeah, I see it.
You see it? Okay. Did the sound just go from one ear?
A little bit, yeah.
Oh, I'm so nervous for technical issues.
My sound?
No, our sound.
Oh.
I think it's just when you move, Jules.
Don't worry about it. It's our sound, baby.
By the way, I can't find anything about a flight being canceled midair.
Okay.
Well,
But I do see that Air Canada is canceling nearly 10,000 flights this summer.
Uh-oh.
Whoa.
That's
And
trouble,
I'm really
baby.
nervous.
That's a lot. 10th. I know.
Oh,
but,
yeah, for our wedding.
But I feel like it would... First of all, they'll give you a refund. And worst comes to worst, you guys drive.
Yeah, true.
At the end of the day, nothing's as bad as it seems, baby.
Oh, my God. Okay, that I like because it's very positive, and I would love it if you were more like that.
Ultimately, it is positive. Okay, let me bring on the energy. Oh, can't wait for our fantastic guest today. He's delicious. Maybe delicious, too. I'll throw that in there. Delicious and baby. Out of context.
God.
No? How's your day going?
Goodness.
My day's delicious, baby. How's yours? Yeah, it's teetering on creepy now. All right, I'll skip that. What's
Teetering?
Brad Yates' outro every time? Love, honor, and
Yeah.
shit. Do we know it? Because I wanted to say it at the end. Uh-oh. I don't think we have time. We've got a minute and a half.
I'll look for it.
Every end
Jordan,
of video...
if you can listen to it, there's one that's called the money... There's a quickie, a money...
I mean, we don't... It's about to start, just so you know. But yeah, he signs off the same way. Remember to love,
just ask him what
honor,
it is, because I can't remember
I know, but
exactly the order.
I want it to be cute, baby, and say it to him at the end of the epi. Brad, thanks so much, and remember always to love something and honor thyself. love, not respect, baby.
Shoot.
Anyway,
Actually,
I'm
why don't
thrilled.
I just check right quick here?
Do you have time? We're 30 seconds. I have a feeling he's going to be on time. I mean, I could be wrong, but what if he was really late?
Okay, 1 second.
Oh gosh. Remember to love, honor, love.
Wait. It's going to play now.
Take a deep breath. And allow yourself to attract more and more money.
It's at the end.
Highest good of all concerned.
For the highest good of all concerned.
In body, mind, and spirit.
Play.
In body, mind, and spirit.
No, there's a remember to love and honor thyself. Like there's a. Was that the
I've
end?
seen 2 videos now, and I don't see an outro
Oh.
like him say anything like that.
Well, maybe my memory's bad.
Wait. This. Oh, attract money for the greatest good of all or something. Just ask him about his extra, because maybe the ones we've watched, it's always similar, but maybe he doesn't always do it.
Okay.
Okay, it's 3:00.
For some reason, your camera freezes every so often.
It's annoying.
It's really clear, but then it'll just like pixelate and freeze. So we apologize to any YouTube viewers. But it's still like the resolution is fantastic and you look great. Just once in a
you.
little while,
Jordan, do I look like the little girl from Jurassic Park today?
it's hard for her to see because she's.
Oh,
I can't really see very well.
I've got a braid in, so I thought of you today. I need my
Yes,
baseball
when you
cap.
have the braid and the hat.
Yeah, the baseball cap. What?
Well, it's 3:01. Uh-oh.
Oh, I'm sure he'll be here.
Shit, we don't have our phones to check anything. Oh, let me check. Can I log on to Instagram on the internet?
I don't think so.
Like on Chrome?
Yeah, you can.
Yeah? Okay.
You can?
Let's find out. Yes, you can. It is today at 3, right?
Yes.
Okay.
What's the date today?
The 27th of August. July 6th. Yeah, Brad Yates, 3 p.m. Maybe he's tapping. Maybe he's in a tapping session. I just want to make sure I'm not missing anything. Oh, God. Oh, no, he's not. I thought he was in the waiting room.
You got scared?
Yes, this whole time. All right, we'll see. Anyway,
Hey, Julien.
hey Jen or Jordan.
Actually, this might be a whole conversation, but have you? I know you're into reality TV. Have you watched Love Island?
I haven't watched Love Island yet. What is
Oh,
it?
boy.
What's the premise? We saw a promo. We saw a premise for it or promo for it, didn't we, Jen? And you were like, "Oh yeah." I was like, "Love Boat," but
Yeah,
the Love Boat.
it's watch
Oh,
the
yeah,
UK
right.
one. It's so much better. It's the original, and it's basically they put like I think they start with 5 or 6 people, and they're basically just there to like find love, but they don't like force anything. Like if you don't find love, then you're dumped from the island. It's I don't know. It's less annoying than the other ones I find.
And
So I thought you guys would like it.
by find love, they mean a stranger to bone for 10 days on an island and then never speak to you again. These shows are so ridiculous. It's so
They
obvious.
are.
That's what all the guys. That's all they want.
Yeah.
I feel like the women might
Bone.
have a little hope, but all the guys are like, I'm getting paid right now. I like trying to bone all the chicks.
Are their lips that tight?
Yeah, man.
Yeah, baby.
Well, actually, not Love is Blind, but yes, Love is Blind. No, not Love is Blind. Too Hot to Handle. They always trick them into thinking they're going on some island to hook up. And that is the most despicable form of human, like at that level. When you go, hey, you're going on an island to hook up, it just, all the carnal desires of people come out. It's so gross. They're like, oh man, yeah, I can't wait. This is going to be my summer.
I know,
I'm going to
it's
hook up
gross.
so
I
much.
know.
And they like mimic it on camera. And then they're like,
Gross.
actually, you can't touch each other. And they're like, what? I came here to get my dick wet, man.
It's so gross.
I know.
Oh my gosh.
Who, me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that's what it is.
Maybe we should refrain from that but right before poor Brad
Yeah.
is coming on.
Sorry, Brad. We were just having sexy talk here. No, I just got to look. Maybe it wasn't today. Could we have messed up the dates? Oh, he was here. He's gone. Oh, no. I think he's here. Yes.
I'm here. My camera's just being stubborn.
Okay. All right.
Hi, Brad.
Well, very thrilled to have our guest today. What can we say about him? Well, he is, I think, the top EFT and tapping expert for us. It's a huge deal to have him on. I'm honestly, as many guests as we've had over the years, I'm actually starstruck. Today, I'm starstruck. He's been 22 years of tapping, over 222,000 subscribers on his YouTube channel, more than 39 million views, 10,000 plus tapping students. Celebrity endorsements? Yes, he has those too. If you're a fan of The Secret, and we're huge fans, Jack Canfield said Brad Yates is a master teacher. He's a warm, loving, powerful, effective, transformative force for good. I totally endorse his work. And Dr. Joe Vitale said Brad has the easiest, friendliest, most articulate way of presenting EFT I've ever seen. It's simple, practical, and fast. Plus, he's a hoot to work with. You can see and find all of his work at tapwithbrad.com. Ladies and gentlemen, it's a thrill for us to have on the show for the first time Mr. Brad Yates. Thank you so much for joining us.
My pleasure.
Welcome to the show. I'm a little off camera here, my view, but in the final feed, we all look good. We're centered.
Should I clap like this for Brad?
Yeah, tapping, clapping.
I'm tapping,
Exactly.
clapping. Have you ever heard that one, Brad, or is this new?
Please put your fingers together and tap for.
You wouldn't hear much, but you'd know that,
Exactly.
Yeah.
Brad Yates, it's a true thrill for us to have you on. It seems like anytime you get into the personal development world, it's like you bond with the teachers and the people that bring you through the process of personal development, because you go through personal stuff and you
Vulnerable
and
Yeah.
you work through it. And for us, we've been watching your videos since 2018, and you've been in our living room since then, so we're thrilled to have you. For people that don't know Brad, let's get to the basics. And for people that don't know, or for people that might assume you're a tap dancer, can we just give the basic rundown, the elevator pitch of EFT and tapping, if you may?
Yeah, absolutely. So for thousands of years in Chinese medicine, they've said there's a flow of energy through the body along pathways that are called meridians. And when this energy is flowing naturally, we experience a natural state of health and well-being, physically and emotionally. And when this energy gets stuck, we don't feel so good. And we don't think as clearly, we don't make the best choices. So in traditional Chinese medicine, they would stick needles in these key points along the body in acupuncture. And we're just doing the same thing, basically, but with our fingertips, we're tapping these same places to balance out that energy so that we feel better. And it's a profound stress relief technique. So there's a lot of different ways in which it is affecting the mind and body, but it is very basic. The tapping is a stress relief technique, which calms us down, helps us feel better, helps us think better. We can make much better choices, and it helps us live better lives. So that's the very basic of what we're doing with this understandably strange-looking technique if you're new to it.
And when you mentioned the spots and which you tap on, how did, because there's several spots all on the body that you can tap. Where do those come from? Like how has that been established that those particular spots on the body yields any sort of change?
Yeah, so acupuncture has been around for thousands of years, and those points were discovered over a process of figuring out how the body works. And when this tapping process was originated, I mean, there's a lot of different ways in which it came together, but we sort of look at the founder of this tapping as a psychologist named Dr. Roger Callahan. And just through his trial and error, looking at different points that have been used in acupuncture, he found that these particular points, these 8 points that we generally use, were most effective. Now, in his process, thought field therapy, he would use different algorithms. So for fear, he might tap a couple of different points in different sequences. For anxiety, something else. For sadness, a different sequence. And then one of his students was a gentleman named Gary Craig. And Gary said, okay, well, we're only tapping 8 points. Rather than spending all this time trying to figure out what order to tap them in, why don't we just tap all the 8 points from top to bottom? And called this new streamlined technique EFT, or emotional freedom techniques, which is what a lot of people use now. And a lot of us now just call it tapping.
Right.
Did you have to take a course to be like certified in teaching people?
There are certification courses. I first learned it from Gary Craig 22 something years ago. And he had a basic course and then an advanced course that I went through these courses. At that time, there was no certification. So a lot of the people who have certification courses actually learned EFT after I did.
Okay.
But there is training. I was also a certified hypnotherapist when I learned this. So I had already had, being trained on how to work with clients with issues and having supervised hours and things like that. So I do recommend that for anyone who wants to be a practitioner, that if it's a very good idea to go through a process like that so that you can learn how to deal with folks when some uncomfortable stuff comes up, and also so you're clear on your scope of practice. Unfortunately, because EFT can be so quick and so effective at times, sometimes it's a more gradual process, but sometimes the relief we get from distressing emotions is so quick, and people learn and go, wow, I can save everybody with mental issues, and will go out and step into waters that they should not be wading in.
Gotcha.
So we want to be careful about that.
When I first started trying it, I had hired a business coach, and she shared your video, and it was the money quickie one, the short 5-minute attracting money.
Mm-hmm.
And it was interesting because I noticed that, yes, of course I wanted more money. That was one of the things I had told her. I wanted to increase revenue in my business. So she took an approach that involved many things. And one of them was including your video. And what I noticed about it, which I didn't expect to notice, was when you say I choose to love and honor myself, a lot of people wouldn't make that connection about it bringing more money into your life. But what I noticed is I'd go throughout the day and I would have a critical thought about my appearance or something. And I would go, well, wait a second, that doesn't jive with choosing to love and honor myself. And that was a huge aha moment for me because I think the process of tapping felt more like actively thinking it or something instead of just saying an affirmation, because sometimes affirmations can feel like they're very autopilot. But by doing this, it felt like I was really drilling it in there. And then I felt like, oh, wait a second. I just told myself I was going to choose to love and honor myself. And now I'm saying, oh, man, why can't you lose that last 5 pounds? Or that shirt looks, your muffin top, whatever. It doesn't matter. But it was really profound, actually.
Yeah. Yeah. That's when we do the tapping process, what's called the setup is where we make the statement of, even though I have this issue, this stress, this anxiety, this frustration with my neighbor because of their dog, whatever it might be. And then we say, even though I have that issue, I choose to love and accept myself. And it's allowing us to recognize that this uncomfortable feeling that we have, it's just our programming telling us that we need to feel that. So I want to make a statement of accepting myself. And so we start, I certainly do this in all of my EFT sessions. Different people have different ways of doing the process. But doing the setup, creates that acceptance of ourselves to facilitate the process that happens, whether we're tapping on money or tapping on health issues. And really, ultimately, self-love is one of the most important things. And it's something that so many of us struggle with. So to work that into whatever we're tapping is always beneficial.
Yeah, and sometimes you're not aware, right? You're not even aware that you're doing it. That it really brought it to the forefront. I was like, oh, Well, I didn't even know, because you're so used to having these thoughts
Mm-hmm.
in your head just going, and you're not aware of it, but it's reinforcing this identity of yourself. And if you have the identity of someone who doesn't always accept themselves and loves themselves, then maybe you're not also going to be the person that's going to attract all the things you want in your life. Because if you're not liking yourself, then why would you? Yeah. So it was really like, I was like, whoa, there's a lot to this tapping thing.
Yeah, there's a couple of brilliant things you just mentioned, Jen. One is that we don't know it. We're walking around so unaware of the thoughts that we're having. And this is why, particularly with money, and I just created a new money program, because it's such a key thing where most of us are not aware of the thoughts that we actually have about money.
Right.
And so we sit there and say, oh yeah, I want more, while at the same time having all kinds of negative thoughts about money. Well, rich people are all greedy. They don't care about people. Money is the root of all evil, and all these different things, all these misunderstandings that we're not consciously aware of, but our unconscious mind is much more powerful than our conscious mind. So when we're in a situation where we can make a choice that can either lead to having more money or lead to having less money, and we're going, is money good or is money bad? And the majority of our mind is saying money's bad. Okay, I'm going to push it away. And then we're consciously sitting there going, gosh, I wish I could have more money. So that's one of them, is the unconscious thing. The other is when you talked about identity. And that's such a huge thing, because most of us are really unconscious about how we identify ourselves. We think of ourselves as somebody who is just struggling to get by. We think of ourselves as a couch potato. Not consciously, we wouldn't necessarily say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm a couch potato. But we might identify ourselves that way. That's why I often I wear soccer jerseys a lot, because it just increases that identity of I'm athletic, so I like to be fit. And it's just sort of reaffirming that identity. So when we look at what we say we want, consciously, we have our vision board, consciously saying, this is, what I want is I want to have this nice car. I want to be going on these nice vacations. It's like, but do you see yourself as the sort of person who does that? No, not really. Well, then it's going to be really hard to make it happen.
Yeah.
That's why why so many people who win the lottery blow the money and end up worse off than they were before.
Right.
Because having that money doesn't fit their identity. And it's such a huge clash of situation with how they identify themselves that it's way too uncomfortable.
It's so wild, the gap between the conscious and subconscious mind when you think about it, because consciously you could be like, yeah, I love money. Give me all the money. Of course. Who wouldn't want more money? So consciously you're thinking these things, but subconsciously you have these patterns that are 180 degrees the opposite of what your conscious mind thinks. And the subconscious is what dominates your regular life. But I'm discovering that recently, just the huge gap between my conscious mind and my subconscious mind. Because again, obviously on the surface, if you ask anybody, anyone would want more money. It's like, yeah, of course.
Mm-hmm.
But so is tapping kind of breaking through that and kind of getting to the subconscious and reprogramming your subconscious mind?
Exactly. Because what happens is we crave homeostasis. We want things to be the same. Even if our lives are crap, it's our crap. We know where it goes. I dealt with it yesterday. I'm pretty sure I can deal with it today. I can't handle anything new. So even though I may not like struggling to pay my bills, the idea of having to, deal with my accountant about how many millions I made this year, that's so foreign.
Yeah.
So we will keep retreating back to what's familiar. So what happens is there is a part of our brain called the amygdala that looks for threats. And when it sees a threat, it sends out a stress signal and we go into fight, flight, or freeze. This was great back 100,000 years ago when we were facing life or death situations and, saber-toothed tiger, things like that. But that still happens even if someone looks cross-eyed at us or if we're just facing something that's challenging. Like, someone says, what would you do with $1 million? And part of us, our conscious mind is like, well, I would do this and this. But our unconscious is like, I would lose I would go nuts. I can't even think about that. So there's that stress response so that when we have an opportunity to change something, we stop ourselves. It's like an electrical fence around our comfort zone. So the tapping, again, is a stress relief technique. So as we are thinking about this stressful situation, suddenly having $1 million, as we tap, we calm down the stress response and we start to say, okay, you know what? I've figured out a lot of things in my life. I could figure this out. This is not something that needs to throw me into a panic. And that's why when, Jen, you were mentioning earlier about affirmations, what happens so often is when we say affirmations, we're trying to say something that might be contrary to our current circumstances. So, if I'm really out of shape and I say I'm fit and athletic, and I say that over and over again, over time, eventually it can start to make a shift. But for the most part, as we're saying it, the conscious mind is saying, I'm fit and healthy. And the other 90% of our mind, the unconscious mind, is saying, you are such a liar. Who do you think you are? What are you talking about? Look in the mirror. So the energy of what we're saying is not comfortable. As we tap while we say affirmations, again, we calm down that stress response such that we can say, well, I do have the capacity to be fit and athletic. Yeah, and it would be okay. And I start to look at the reasons why I don't want that. Because the extent to which we don't have what we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it. The extent to which we're not fit and healthy tends to be the extent to which we're resisting that. The extent to which we don't have the amount of money we say we want tends to be the extent to which we're resisting it. And this is something that most people will argue with. They'll say, no. It's like, okay, let's look at your behavior.
Yeah, exactly.
If you say you want to be fit and healthy, if I was to have you on camera, if you were on one of those reality shows where there's cameras in every room watching your every move, would we look and say, yes, the majority of the day you are taking actions that contribute to a fitter body? If you say you want to have more money, if we follow your habits, are you doing those things that lead to having more money, or are you spending or doing other things that contribute to you having less money?
So true.
And so it's like, okay, so a lot of that behavior is unconscious, and that unconscious behavior is coming from that resistance to having more. It's those ideas of, if I have more money or if I'm healthier, my friends will be jealous and I'll be an outcast. I'll be abandoned if I'm more successful. And so I'm just going to, stay about the same level as everybody else.
That is interesting. I want to say quickly that we also have our producer, Jordan, who's off camera, and she's here and she might want to ask you a question. I'm sure she's very interested in this as well. So I just wanted to put that out there in case you hear a phantom voice. That's Jordan. But there's so many things I think about. Like, as you're talking, I'm realizing, and I've thought this a lot with personal development and self-help, is that life feels sometimes like a puzzle. Like we're figuring out the puzzle of life. It's like we've got this unconscious or subconscious that is ruling us, but we're unaware of it. And how do we get in there and undo it or fix it? But like, even being aware of that, like I remember having that like aha moment too about being just about that. I was like, okay, because I kept reading and nothing was changing. And I'm like, okay, well, why isn't anything changing? It's like I needed to bridge what I know with what my heart is or something, with something deeper. And so, yeah, I think that you're absolutely right. Anytime I do exercises where it's like, well, what do you want the money for? I almost don't even know how to answer it, but it's like we're addicted to the want of something that we're not actually doing anything for. And what is it for exactly? Can you actually write down a plan? And that's where it gets kind of complicated. And it's almost like you get addicted to being disappointed in your life or something, and you don't actually take concrete steps to do anything about it. I'm saying you. It's obviously me.
Yeah, hey, Jen, back off. Stop telling me how I am.
The figurative you. I have a friend.
Well, and here's the thing. It's and for everyone, because we're all doing this in different ways at different times. One of the phrases that I use a lot in my tapping sequences is, it's not because I'm bad or stupid. It's not because I'm weak or lazy. We want to be compassionate with ourselves. I like to say that self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love.
I love that.
So we are trying to protect ourselves. So when we look at something, it's like, I had that interview today for a great job and I didn't show up. What? I'm such an idiot. It's like, no, I'm brilliant, because part of me said that great job would lead to circumstances that feel uncomfortable to me. So I needed to make sure that I got distracted and missed that opportunity. It's brilliant. We're protecting ourselves, but it's based on misinformation. And because we had that stress response when we try to make a change, and like reading the self-help books, we can read those books, but the moment it gets uncomfortable, we're going to back off. And I remember long ago getting a self-help book. It's like, oh, this is great. I never did any of the exercises.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was too stressful to do that, but it was okay. It was safe enough to get the information. It's just like having a vision board. It's safe enough to put those pictures up on the wall, but to actually do anything to create that, that's when the stress starts to kick in. The unconscious mind says, you go ahead and you fantasize about that. You look at your vision board, you read your self-help books, you imagine the better circumstances. We just need to make sure that you stay with who you believe yourself to be, who that identity is, that identity that's been formed over the years based on misunderstandings from different circumstances, the way that our parents may have spoken to us, or teachers or friends, and just events that happen. Your friend steals your toy in the third grade and you go, well, I guess people don't really like me. And we build this identity of, I'm this person who's just not well liked or whatever. We just go through and then we start to find circumstances that validate that.
Oh, it's so true.
Because we love to be right, and I will find, something and it's like, oh, there's more proof that people don't like me. And it's totally misunderstanding, but I want to prove that. And so anything I then try to do to change that, and I can read the self-help book, but I can't allow that information to sink in because it pushes up against that stress response. So that's what the first book I wrote called The Key to Success. I think I originally called it The Joy of Success or something like that, but it was, I didn't mean it as a full book. It was meant as a companion piece to go along with other self-help books. It's like, so while you're reading this other book, use this tapping technique to allow yourself to break down the barriers so you can actually let this stuff in.
So cool.
Go to a self-help conference, but be tapping, because part of you is going to say, that sounds great. That sounds great. By tomorrow, I'm going to forget it all because I'm afraid of change.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, yeah.
It really is the action that is missing in a lot of people's lives. Like just the tapping is that missing puzzle piece. To me, it's so fascinating how many people actually self-sabotage. It's a lot more, like in some cases it's blatantly obvious, right?
All of them, Julien?
Yeah, exactly. But in some cases it's so obvious, and in other cases you have to really look and analyze your life to see where and when you self-sabotage. And it's also, to me, fascinating the difference in people, of how some people, Jen was saying, it's like a puzzle. Some people are born with all the puzzle pieces and seem to, like, I know a lot of rich people and they don't need to put in all this work. You know what I mean? Like, and it's other people need to work so hard on themselves and break these old patterns and these genetic beliefs that were handed down just to break through and just to be on a level where some people, you know what I mean? Like some people it just comes easy.
Do you think like those people might have other challenges? Maybe they've got money down pat, but maybe they have other things. You know what I mean?
Oh,
no one's
sure.
perfect. Yeah.
Very often, everybody's got. So the only person who has no problems is 6 feet under.
Right.
But
and they have the biggest problem, arguably.
Different issues that everyone faces, and some people, are dealt a better hand at the beginning, and we will often then say, oh, well, it's easy for that person, and so I can't have it. I was like, well, and yet you can look at Oprah Winfrey, was not born into wealth.
Right.
So we have all this programming that tells us that these are barriers. Well, if you're, and I hear this from people saying, well, the only way you can have money is if you're born into it. And it's like, well, that just doesn't pan out. If you look at all these people who have lots of money, so many of them started with nothing. Mm-hmm. So it's just not a truth, but it's a convenient truth for us. I would rather believe something that lets me off the hook. I don't have, it's not me blocking wealth. it's the circumstances, it's the cards
Right.
that were dealt to me, and there's just nothing I can do about that because I don't want to take responsibility. And I'm not blaming or shaming anyone about this. We've been programmed to do this. We are doing the best we can in any given circumstance, given the programming that we have.
I love that.
And we get that stress response when we go and try to change that programming. So the tapping helps us to clear that so we can say, you know what? That is a load of crap.
Yeah,
I can't change this.
Yeah, and I think when you were mentioning something earlier that I think is probably one of the biggest motivators for most humans is to be accepted by their tribe, because we know we're trying to survive, and one of the elements or most important aspects to survival is having a group to be there with you and support you and have your family and everything. And I think like growing up, I have a family that's like, and it's not just my parents. I had a family that would say things like, well, we're not rich, but we're happy. We're not, we just don't make money in our family and all these kinds of things. And, how could they have so much? And so like you get that drilled in when you're a little kid. And
Absolutely.
so then on some very deep level, you're trying to change your life and be different from everyone else in your family. But then on the deep level, will I still be loved? Will I still be accepted because they're going to see me as different? And there's that whole saying of it's lonely at the top. You also mentioned that. It's like you feel like you're kind of, as you get more successful, your friends maybe won't be like, you might not have as much in common with them anymore. And then you have to find a whole new group of friends. And how do you do that? And that's all, yeah.
Yeah. I one of the analogies I use is imagine watching the Olympics and you're watching the 400-meter dash and Usain Bolt decides, I don't want anyone to dislike me, so I'll just kind of trot along slower so that I'm not going ahead of anybody.
Yeah.
And everybody's doing the same thing until eventually just everybody is walking slowly in a pack.
That's a good analogy.
Would we watch the Olympics?
That's a great analogy.
Much better for Usain Bolt to be running as fast and say, catch me if you can.
Yeah.
Do your best. And that's what I say to clients all the time. It's like, if it's like everyone's standing in the mud and we're the mud club and we've got jackets. And it's like, if I step out onto dry land, I'll be shunned. It's like, yeah, but I would rather get up on the dry land and say to everybody else, come up here. We got better jackets up on dry land. It's a much cooler club. And inspire others instead of making it comfortable for them to stay stuck in the mud. And people, it's challenging, but and then we'll say, well, I could make these positive changes, but I'm going to play small so other people feel more comfortable. And we think that's noble. It's not noble, because what you're then saying is, I could make things better for myself, but they couldn't. They're really losers. And so I need to play small and bring myself down to their level. That's not a noble thought.
Right.
Think of them as these are people who are missing out on what's possible for them. So another analogy I like is imagine being at the beach and you're standing there looking at the sunset over the ocean and your family's there and they've all got their back to the ocean and they're all like, oh, look at you watching the sunset over the ocean. Who do you think you are? It's like, I think I'm someone enjoying what the world has to offer. Turn your butts around.
So good.
We want to inspire others to see
that.
what's possible. And I know it's challenging and there's no guarantee of it, but we don't, it's like that great quote from Marianne Williamson, your playing small doesn't serve the world.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you, on a personal level, Brad, for you, is tapping something that when you got into, you started seeing results? You know how you go to...
I want to know that question too.
How you go to the gym and you start seeing results, so it encourages you to keep going and motivates you, then you spread that to others. You just start working out. Is that something for you that tapping has transformed your life early on when you got into it?
Not really, Julien. My life was already perfect. Yeah. There were definitely changes. I had been a hypnotherapist for a couple of years when I found tapping, and so I was already doing personal development. I started out as an actor,
No way.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow, cool.
Yeah.
Julian,
I'm not a doctor,
Julian's
but I played
also
one
an
on TV.
actor. He's an actor, and we're both comedians. So, yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. I spent a very, very short time at the Groundlings.
Oh, cool.
Oh, no way. Wow.
Very
So
cool.
I was doing that. I traveled the world doing theater, went to Hollywood to be a movie star, met a woman, fell in love, got married. And when our first child was on the way, I thought I should probably have a backup career. So, even though I did have a stint as a doctor on Days of Our Lives, right about the time that we were getting married, it's like,
No
this is a
way.
good sign, you know?
Oh my God.
Helped my in-laws feel a little bit better about giving their daughter over. It's like, all right, he's not a total failure as an actor. So I trained to become a hypnotherapist. I'd always been fascinated in the power of the mind. And after a couple of years, then when our second child was on the way, I realized as much as I loved acting, this was really what I'm meant to do. This was my calling, this personal development work. And right about that time, found EFT. And in the first moments, I know when people first see it and it looks a little strange. I had part of my journey as an actor included going to Ringling Brothers and Barnum and Bailey Clown College. So tapping on my face, not the strangest thing I'd ever done.
Not the most embarrassing thing. No, not embarrassing, but yeah.
Embarrassing for some people.
Yeah.
I'd already, pushed that envelope.
Well, I'm a comedian, so I know what you mean. I mean,
Yeah.
You get past that stuff. Yeah.
Yes, you've accepted a certain level of, I'm going to stand up here and people are going to think things about me, and not all of them are going to be nice, and that's okay. But when I took that first workshop with Gary Craig and EFT, one of the things he did was he passed around Hershey's Kisses and had everyone rate their desire for the chocolate on a scale of 0 to 10. And I was a bit of a chocoholic at the time, and I'm like 8, 9. And after just a few moments of tapping, I couldn't eat the chocolate. And
Wow.
he had us take a bite, and I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I didn't eat chocolate for 2 years after that.
What?
Now, don't worry, I got better. I recovered. But I can do that again. There are times where it's like, okay, I'm going to take a break from sweets or whatever, and I'll just do some tapping. And it's not a willpower thing. It's, there can be chocolate sitting out, and it's like, there's no desire for it. So in that moment, that was a pretty profound thing of, okay, something definitely just happened here. A moment ago, I wanted this chocolate. Now I can't eat it. There's something to this tapping. So I started little by little introducing it into my sessions. And then over time, it became the main tool that I used. And just improvements in all kinds of areas of my life.
Can you tap about anything, Brad? Like if I start tapping, I'm booking auditions. Will that, is there anything off limits, or is there, you can pretty much, it's just a way to bridge through the subconscious?
Yeah. The tagline for EFT is try it on everything.
Oh, I love that.
Anything in life that it's like, this is not ideal, then, going back to that idea of the extent to which we don't have what we say we want, it's the extent to which we're resisting it. You can talk about law of attraction. So like looking at money, I'll say, okay, for one group, they want to talk about law of attraction. Great. So we attract things by our energetic vibration. And if we have a negative vibration about money, we're not going to be in harmony with money, and we're not going to draw it to us. So the tapping helps us clear out those negative feelings about it so that we feel more positive and we're in a more positive vibration about it. Some people are like, law of attraction, that's all woo-woo. Okay, great. So let's look at this from just a psychological behavior thing. If we have beliefs about why having money is bad, we are going to make choices that are going to keep us from having greater wealth. We're going to make bad choices about what we spend our money on. We're going to stop ourselves from opportunities that will lead to more money. With auditions, as an actor, I can totally look back and see how I sabotaged myself as an actor. Just things that I was like, oh my God, I was trying so hard not to be successful at an unconscious level.
Yeah.
Consciously I thought I'm doing it, but because I had all kinds of fears of success back then. So there are ways that we stop ourselves, and we look at some people. It's like, wow, they get all the breaks. They have all these opportunities, right? Because there is a part of them that is more open to that for whatever reason. We could go back and look at their past. Certainly with money, it's easy to look at. You're talking about how someone you can be raised with parents going, well, we don't have money, but at least we're happy, and all these beliefs like that. It's like your family coat of arms has the motto, we don't have money. Mm-hmm. It's like, man, change that motto.
Yeah.
But there are other families where the motto is, we're rich as sin. It's like,
yeah,
we just have lots of money. And so those kids are raised believing. Now, it's not always one or the other, because there are plenty of people who are raised with lots of money, but pick up a lot of other messages about why that's wrong.
Right.
Just even how that phrase came out of rich is sin. And it's like, oh, so rich is sinful. Okay, I should not have this money. Right. And so they get rid of it all, and they find ways to blow it. So we subconsciously make so many choices. And as we clear that resistance, so looking at auditions, and it's like, okay, I choose to see more opportunities. I choose to get called in more often, and we tap along and clear out the resistance, because there may be a part of, yeah, but if I have more auditions, there's more chances of getting work, and there's more chances of being seen. And the more people who see me, the more people are going to criticize me and think mean things. And I don't want all that to happen. So, gosh, it's a bummer that I don't get more auditions.
Yeah, oh my God.
Brilliant. Self-sabotage is simply misguided self-love.
I love that.
It's wild how much of a racket it is to be a person. Like, it's just, there's so much intricacies and little elements that come in and work that goes into it. How often do you recommend tapping?
At least on a daily basis. Mm-hmm. To me, it is energy hygiene. Or you can call it emotional hygiene. We have physical hygiene, like brushing our teeth and taking a shower. Most people do that regularly as maintenance. Most people don't wait until, people that are holding their nose around them and go, oh, that's right, I haven't taken a shower in a week. I should probably do that. We don't look in the mirror, see green stuff growing between our teeth and say, now I should brush my teeth.
Right. Yeah.
But with stress, most of us don't have any kind of daily practice about that. So just, even if it's just a few minutes, that's better than nothing. Mm-hmm. If you have more time to do more, great. Especially if you're working on something particular. And it's like, I'm trying to make a real shift around my beliefs about money, or my beliefs about health, or some upsetting event from the past that keeps haunting me. Then you might want to spend some more time working on that on a particular day, but at least a few minutes every day, just to try to keep our stress levels down. And, we're walking around, most of us are carrying this little device around with us that's constantly saying, hey, how you feeling? Here's something to be upset about.
Right. Yeah.
So
and we're unconscious of that. We just take it for granted.
It's true.
And that stuff builds up, and we have no idea how much it's slowing us down. It's like, just tying ankle weights around us until we just are, our legs are covered in these weights, and we're just unaware of it. We're just going, gosh, why am I moving so slowly?
Yeah, if you're really self-aware and you think about how you feel when you pick up your phone, almost 100% of the time it's worse when you put it down.
Can I have a question?
Sure. I just want to say the quick quote that's in reference to what Brad is saying. I heard a quote one time. I can't remember where, but it was, motivation is like bathing. It's recommended daily.
Zig Ziglar.
There we go.
Ah.
I had a feeling
Zig Ziglar
said,
so he was giving a lecture, and someone said, but does motivation last? He goes, no, neither does bathing. That's why we recommend it.
I love that.
That's great. Go ahead.
That's like everything, exercise and everything. So
it's not a one and done thing.
Yeah.
You don't you're never going to take a shower that is so profound that you will never have to bathe again.
Why do we think of it that way? Yeah, it's always, we're a work in progress. And that's actually where a lot of our joy comes from too, right? Is living and growing and changing. And
we don't think of it that way because we are self-sabotaging. Because if we allowed ourselves to say, oh, motivation is a thing I should do on a regular basis, then things are going to start to change for us.
Yes,
And if we're avoiding change, oh gosh, I forgot to motivate myself today.
Okay, well,
oh,
that's
darn, maybe tomorrow.
That leads me into the question. So, what advice do you give to someone, i.e., me? Like, say there's a part of me that I get really gung ho, just like most people, and then I'll do tapping. Like, we're gonna leave here. I'm all fired up now. I'm gonna tap. I'm going to tap and tap and tap. And then one day I'm going to be like, I'm late. I'm just going to do it later. And then I don't do it later. And then 3 days go by and then I've forgotten to tap and then I'm off. Now, part of that, I feel like it's what you're saying about maybe my identity. Like I'm not that person that, I don't see myself as a person because I'm afraid of change and I'm sabotaging. So how do you were you at any point in your life where you had to be like, do you just have to like white knuckle it and say, I'm doing this today no matter what? Like I'm just doing it even though I don't feel like it. How do you make yourself do it? Like how do you know what I mean?
Yeah, it's so funny this morning while I was working out, I was thinking of the quote from Peter Vidmar, who's the American gold medal gymnast years ago. And he said, the secret to winning a gold medal came down to two things. I trained when I wanted to, and I trained when I didn't want to. And so it's finding that way. And I get this from folks all the time. It's like, I know that tapping works, but I just stopped doing it. It's like, yeah, because it was working.
Right.
Because it's like change is happening. Even if it's very subtle, I may not be consciously aware of it. It's like I may not look at my bank account and say, oh yeah, I'm profoundly wealthier now. But I can sense the change is happening, and part of me says, "Whoa, you better slow down there. Let's just forget about doing it for a couple of days." And because we don't have that identity of the person who has that result, who meets that goal, and so we find ways to forget about it. That's why I created a thing called a habit tracker. And I didn't create it. I made one that's easy that you can print out. One of my YouTube videos on habits, and it has a link to get one. It's free, but it's there's a lot of people who have them out there. It's just a matter of marking off the days that you do it. You may have heard, because of comedians, you may have heard Jerry Seinfeld gave this advice to a young comedian. He said, mark off every day that you write a joke and keep that going. And make sure you're write a joke every single day and mark it on your calendar so that you can see that. So having a habit tracker and to then say, okay, the first thing I have on the one that I made says tap. So you keep that reminder there because our mind will easily allow ourselves to forget things and say, oh yeah, I haven't done that in a while. But if you have the habit tracker, you can say, oh, I didn't do that today. What am I resisting? Why did I stop myself? What am I afraid would happen if I kept this up? And then when we start to get the answers, well, I'm afraid that I'll have these changes and I'll be an outcast. I'll have too much money and the IRS will take a bunch of it, or whatever it might be. And as we get clear on those reasons, those are all tappable issues.
Yes, and I think it's also important to set realistic goals, like the Jerry Seinfeld thing when he said, write a joke a day, get a yearly calendar, put it on your wall so you can see the whole year and put a red X every time you write a joke and never break the chain. Never break it. But I think that the key is to also set realistic goals. I mean, that could be my subconscious kicking in here, self-sabotage. But if you go, I'm going to write, but you know what I mean? Like if you go, I'm going to write 2 hours every day, never break the chain. Well, some days you won't have 2 hours to write, so you will break the chain, and then you go, oh, geez, another failure, and then you give up. But if you go write a joke every day or just tap, you don't have to tap for an hour every day, but just tap every day and don't break the chain. I don't really have a question there other than just a weird observation, but I also think that, do you find this a lot, Brad, with your students and the people that you coach, that we live in a world where we're obsessed with instant gratification, and a lot of these practices are mid to long-term gratifications, and we're just not, we live in a world where it's just, that seems less desirable?
Absolutely. We have so many things that are instant, and we expect that. Technology has made so many things much simpler, and so anything, it's like, that's going to take more than 5 minutes? I can't be bothered. Don't you know how busy I am? And I was talking to someone just yesterday, and talking about, I think it was wealth issues we're talking about. I just can't see how the change and how long is it gonna take to change this? And I said, all right, let's say to reach your financial goals and have that kind of mindset, it's going to take 15 years. 15 years of working on this. 15 years from now, things are going so much better for you and you feel much better about that. Or you could decide, yeah, I can't bother with that. It's too much work. 15 years from now, you're exactly where you're at.
Right.
Wouldn't it be worth that effort? I get the question a lot, in comments on YouTube and things like that, saying, how long will it take? And I said, I don't know, but decide that you're worth it. I'm not asking you to run a marathon every day. I'm saying tap on your face for a few minutes every day.
Yeah.
I love that story you talk about with the sugar. That's really interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it works.
How does it feel? We're comedians and we affect people in positive ways. How does it feel, though, in your position to change people's lives? You must get it all the time where people go, you've changed my life.
It's okay. It's awesome. It's so gratifying. Like I'll be on the treadmill in the morning and going through YouTube comments because I like, so people have questions. I like to give suggestions of different things. But a lot of times it is comments like that. And back when I used to be able to do live workshops, which I'm starting to get to do again coming up soon. I'd have people come up and say, you have no idea. I've been following your videos and it's made a difference. And it's profoundly gratifying and humbling. There's a line in the movie Chariots of Fire where the runner, who's also a preacher, and his sister, who joins him in his ministry, is saying to him, you need to give up this running nonsense and focus full time on your ministry. And he said, yes, God made me a good preacher, but he also made me fast, and I feel God's pleasure when I run. And that to me is, it's like, yeah, that's a good way of putting it. When I'm doing the tapping with folks, and especially when I can see them and see the shifts and the relief that they experience, it's just like, okay, I've earned my oxygen today.
Yes.
I'm doing what I'm meant to be doing. Just like, when a joke really lands and people are doubling over, it's just like, yes.
Yeah.
And social media and technology must have completely changed your world. I mean,
I was
before,
going to ask that too.
like how did you do it before? Just like workshops for 100, 200 people, like hundreds of people, where now you can reach, millions.
Yeah. Whether it's got lucky or manifested or whatever, I like to say I manifested YouTube. I brought it into creation because of that, looking for a way to reach more people. I had, been doing tapping for a few years, and I started putting things on the internet, just little tapping rounds that I called e-tappings. And then YouTube came around. So 2007, it had been out for a couple of years. And I had the idea, I could do a tapping round that to help people start their day, and I'll call it Tap of the Morning. And that was all I intended to do, was that one video. I was like 6 months before I thought, wow, I should probably do a video for people to end their day, and I'll call it Tap of the Evening. And then I'm done. And then another idea, and then another idea, and now there's well over 1,000 videos there.
And
so great. And do a lot of people work with you? Because this is making me want to learn more about it. So are the videos, does that translate into people connecting with you and working? Because I know you have programs. I went to your website and you have programs, so various things for different. I like that you have things that are not overly expensive too. Like it's accessible. You know what I mean? Because if people don't have a lot of money, they can still work with you.
Right.
Which is
right.
nice.
At this point, because I've been doing it for so long, working with me one-on-one is not cheap, but I'd have workshops and group coaching that I do that on varying levels, and then I have programs that are less expensive. So try to have the full range, because there's it's great to have something where you have a little more personal input than I can do in a video. But
Right.
I try to make this as accessible as possible. And I've been very fortunate that the YouTube videos have allowed me to have a greater reach and introduced me to a lot of people that have then contacted me for either bought programs or to work with me one-on-one or in groups. But the videos have never been intended as marketing tool. It's a fantastic marketing tool.
Right.
It's just never been I've never shot a tapping video thinking, okay, this will help me get more clients. It's
Right.
always just, I get a message going, this would help. I mean, I have probably as long a list of ideas as I have videos that I've already shot. People say, you have a video for everything. It's like, obviously not, because I still have all these other ideas that I need to shoot. And it's just, I'll be listening to a book on tape or watching a movie or just observing something in my own life or somebody else's life and think, oh, you know what? Tapping would be helpful with that. And just shooting it, just trying to make that difference.
And I love
but I'm very
that.
grateful for how it's allowed me to, make a decent living.
Yeah, it's such a pure kind of motivation, which I think is also, you're in the, you know what I mean? Your heart's in the right place.
Yes.
So if you start thinking of it as like,
Marketing.
oh, I'm marketing, I'm going to make all this money. Like, it's like when I auditioned for something in comedy. I remember that was a pivotal time for me too. When I started thinking, what do they want? Or my head's in the wrong place. My heart's in the wrong place. I'm like, oh, I have to pick the jokes that they'll like. And I got to do this, this, and this, and this, instead of just being me and not like having that greedy kind of wrong energy. It's like, it's not the right energy.
At the end
feel
of my
that.
acting
Yeah.
career, when I had decided that I was going to go full-time into personal development and I was retiring as a professional actor, I was in a play at that time. And it was for the first time, I was just enjoying acting for the sake of acting. It wasn't, who's in the audience tonight? Are there any casting directors? Is there anyone, industry people in the audience tonight? It was always that thing of, I'm doing a play, but I'm doing it as an audition kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I was at that point, it's like, okay, now I just allowed myself to enjoy doing theater. And it was probably one of the best performances I gave. In fact, one of my clients was a Tony Award-winning actor. And he came to see the show, and he's like, man, you are an effing great actor. Because you saw me allowing myself to do my art as opposed to me auditioning and trying to
That's right.
be good for someone who will give me a job at some point.
This
Yeah,
coming
I
from a pure
remember-
place.
Yeah, like I remember doing the Seattle comedy competition with like a comedian who was like, it was the obvious self-sabotage. Every night, there's 7 nights, first 6 nights, didn't place, bombed, didn't do well. He figured out, according to the math and everything, that he wouldn't make the semifinals no matter what he did that last night. I have never seen him kill like that in my life because there was nothing on the line. And I mean, that was something to watch. I thought, who is this person all of a sudden? Because he didn't expect to do well, didn't care, just was himself. Like the same story, like nothing's on the line. Yeah. But
when we can share our gifts, whatever they might be, from the place of, whatever that, feeling God's pleasure, whatever that means. It's not trying to make it a religious thing or anything, but that sense of this is who I am. This is what I'm here to do. Just comes from the place of I'm doing what I do, whether I get paid or not. Mm-hmm. And it's absolutely great to be paid, but being able to do it regardless of that, and not having that be, well, I'll do better if I'm being paid more, because then we're not going to necessarily do better because we're separating from being that clear channel.
yeah, very true.
Well, Brad Yates, this has been an absolute thrill
yeah.
to have you on. We've kept you long enough.
So
Just
exciting.
one last quick question, if I may. I know it's loaded.
All right, Julien. Because you haven't, you said Jordan was going to ask a question. You haven't given her any
I
chance
know. Poor Jordan.
Jordan, do you have any questions, Jordan?
Brad, thank you for thinking of me. It's really nice of you. I think everyone's really covered it, but I just wanted to say, like, everything you've been talking about, I've really resonated with, and I'm very interested in this, and definitely going to watch some YouTube videos and get into it, because I think it's a very powerful tool, and you're so wise. I'm like so intrigued with this conversation. So thank you.
It's coming through.
Why I'm growing the beard is because I'm wiser when I have it. Especially
Good
with how
one.
white it is. You can barely see it because it's so white.
No, but it's contagious. Your energy, your positive energy is contagious
yeah.
through Zoom. Like, I feel jazzed up.
Yeah.
I feel I've never felt more alive, and I want to go do things. Okay, just a quick question.
We could
Is there
talk to you for like
such-
7 hours.
I know. Is there such a thing as luck? Does luck factor into anything, or is there nothing random? Because I've heard both in the self-help world. Go ahead. Brad.
That question is way above my pay grade. People say, and someone just brought this up the other day about how, the quote about luck is where opportunity meets preparation.
Right.
And we make our own luck and things like that. I did a video on luck years ago. I think that, it's hard to say. I think that the universe has our back, and if we're open to it, we could all be luckier, because those opportunities are there, and it's allowing ourselves to be open to it. So is one person luckier, or are they just, for some reason, more open to the favorable opportunities that are possible for everyone? And and obviously there are situations where it's like, okay, how do someone, a car swerves and hits one person, but not the person sitting next to them. How do you justify is that, the person who got hit just wasn't tapping enough, or, clearing the,
Right.
if they were more clear, they would have been luckier. I can't say. There's too many things that are beyond that, but there are definitely things that are within our control, far more than we allow, far more than we're aware of.
Right.
So a lot of people will say, oh, well, that person's just luckier. It's like, that person might have put in a lot more work than you did.
Right.
Or, or that person has different programming that you could change your mind about that. And so too often we will use luck as a way of letting ourselves off the hook.
Mm-hmm. That's me in a
that
nutshell.
person's luckier than I am, and so I'm not even going to bother. It's like, well, things could go better for you than they're going. It's possible that person may be luckier than you, but you could still improve your circumstances.
I love it.
Aw,
Yes.
this has been so nice.
It's been, honestly, Brad, this has been an absolute thrill for us. Completely still starstruck. You can find
I hope we're like
genuine here.
very
It's not-
genuinely excited about having you on the show. This is a big deal for us.
This is a very big deal. You can find
I'm
Brad
just
Yates.
the guy who taps on his face for a living.
Well,
You guys, people who can stand up and do comedy, because that was something, certainly as an actor, it's like, should I? Yeah, no. It's safe to be in my office and put on YouTube where I don't have the live audience. Although I do love a live audience.
there's nothing like it. Hey, you can find Brad Yates at tapwithbrad.com and Tap with Brad across all social media platforms, and find him on YouTube. He's doing God's work out there, and once again, cannot thank you enough. Oh, can we do, just before you go, just look into the camera and smile for the thumbnail, and that's that. Honestly, I can't say thank you enough. This has been. I don't think I'll sleep tonight. This has been a real. Which time zone are you in, by the way? Just curious.
Pacific.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
I'm in Sacramento, California.
Oh, beauty.
Nice.
That's what we
Never
have to
been
Where are you
there.
guys?
We're in Canada.
We're in Quebec, in Wakefield, Quebec, just north of Ottawa.
Wakefield, Quebec. Have you ever heard of it? Probably not.
I've heard of Ottawa.
Okay. Yeah. So we're very close to Ottawa.
Maybe we should start tapping, I live in SoCal. I live
Yeah.
in SoCal.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the key. Thanks
Wait
again.
until we get the drought thing figured out.
Yeah.
You guys have plenty of water up there.
Yeah, that's true.
It's true.
That is very true. Again, head on over to tapwithbrad.com and for all of your Brad Yates needs. Thank you so much. We really appreciate it. This has been an honor. Thank you so much.
Oh, my pleasure. Thank you so
Thanks,
much.
Brad.
All the best to you.
You too.
There he goes, ladies and gentlemen. Brad Yates. Wow, that was wasn't that great?
Amazing.
I honestly feel like I just tapped for an hour. And
Are you already trying to get out of tapping?
yeah.
I don't need to tap because I just felt like I did it for an hour with Brad.
I do. I
Sheesh.
feel like he's downloaded his knowledge onto my computes here. But anyway, this has been a lot of fun. Thanks, Jordan. Thanks, you were great. And yeah, I mean, I'm floating on cloud nine.
I know.
This is
He's just so intelligent. Like he has like such a great answer for absolutely everything you asked. And I think that's like very rare sometimes in interviews it just doesn't feel like it's always like it doesn't come natural to them, but he's just like so intelligent in what he knows. Like and he's just there's a confident, I don't know, it's just
I was freaking out when we were having technical issues off the top, and then I'm like, no, but he's a self-help guy. It's all good. Like it's not gonna be mad.
Yeah. Can you imagine? And then he all of a sudden changes when we start talking to him. He's like, oh, excuse me, I'm very busy. And then, hello, all nice afterwards.
We're dealing with technology. Anyway, we want to thank you for listening and subscribing. Find us anywhere you get your podcast. Obviously, you know that already. If you're watching this, follow us on Instagram and Facebook. Jordan does fantastic work, and subscribe on our YouTube, as well as, once again, subscribe to, head on over to tapwithbrad.com and just get into it. Just get into the tapping world.
You don't understand
You have nothing to lose
how
and
much
everything
it
to gain.
works.
Yes.
And I'm gonna commit to doing it every day.
Yes.
I'm
same.
gonna do the calendar thing and tick it off because
Don't break the chain. That's
I
all.
know that it works. It's I don't know. It's one of those things when you see it being, because you mentioned that earlier about how like it might look weird if you're not used to it, but it works. Like I know it works
Of course.
more than many things I've tried.
Well, you can just go on his website and see all the testimonials that are on YouTube, all the comments. I mean, the proof is in the pudding, and it's all there. All right,
Brad, he goes, should I have signed off? Kind of enjoying this.
No. See, actually, I see him on the big screen. It's great. No, stay.
Sometimes at the end of an interview, after they turn off the recorder, it's like, we'll chat afterwards. And we hadn't talked about that ahead of time. And so it's like, should I just hang on for a minute? And then you're just
so
kind of
nice.
going on about how nice and wise and intelligent I am. It's like, I'm just going to hang out here for a moment. And,
Well, the thing is, too, we're so because if we end the meeting, it ends it for everyone. And Jordan's also on Zoom, so we don't want. But no, stick around. But anyway, we're wrapping up regardless. So I
Do
feel
you
like,
ever come to Canada, Brad?
I have. I've done a couple of workshops in Toronto and a couple in Vancouver.
Okay.
I know.
Yeah.
I just want to. Don't you like some people you meet? And you're like, can we be friends? Like I feel like with Brad's background and acting and everything, I feel like we would really hit it off in person.
Now
Yeah,
it's
maybe.
getting creepy.
Yeah, maybe.
I agree, Julien. We're already best friends now.
I feel it. I feel it in my bones.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you again. Thanks to Brad Yates. Thanks to Jordan. Thanks to Jen. I love you.
You.
We'll see you guys. Join us for brand new episodes of the Julien Dionne Show with Jen Grant, Mondays and Wednesdays, right here, wherever you're watching.
Brad, you're
this
always
thing.
welcome on the show. Okay?
Oh my! It would be an honor to have you again.
Oh, yeah.
A thrill.
I know you're busy, but if you ever wanted to come on again and just talk and
I suppose I could make time for you guys again at some point.
oh, it'd be so fun.
Absolutely.
I'm feeling a new friendship budding. I mean, I may be jumping the gun, but I'm feeling.
Okay, Julien, cool your jets. It's too much.
I'm gonna slide
Coming
in-
on too strong. Go tap. I'm friends with Brad. I'm
Yeah.
friends with Brad.
When's the wedding? Should I put that on my calendar?
July
Yeah.
July 23rd.
July 23rd.
You're invited. You can sit at the head table between Jen and I.
Already coming between you two. This doesn't look good.
I'll for sure be sliding in your DMs, Brad. We really appreciate it. Enjoy the rest of your day in beautiful California, and I hope you don't run out of water anytime soon.
Yeah.
I don't know why I had to end it on a dark,
Yeah, wow.
depressing note.
Wow. Yeah. I can't wait to see one of your shows. Hey, you guys have been a great audience. Now I'm going to bring the room down a little bit.
Yeah, I always like to bring
I'm
up
going to end
taxes.
on this. Brad is never going to have to worry about water because he's got a tap.
I mean,
A tap.
does it? I wish I
I
had.
see what you did there.
It's really good when you explain the jokes. That's when you really know you've hit it hard.
There you go. You get one of those, and you get a laugh.
Thank
From
you.
the
Thank
audience.
you. Thank you.
Brad Yates, once again, tapwithbrad.com. Thank you so much, my new friend.
I know.
We'll chat soon. Thanks so much.
Take care, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was great. That was so
God.
fun. I know.
I'm
Too
like
much fun.
freaking out a little bit.
I know. All right. Good night, everybody. We're out.